There was a lot of tension early on in the design. The NFL wanted that shot you all saw down Campus Martius. I knew if we put the draft there, that meant the NFL zone could never contain all the people who were going to show up. It meant we had to use all of downtown, from Corktown to Grand Circus Park to Eastern Market, something no NFL draft has tried. And I told the NFL, I really don't care what you say. I want Chief White to tell me he's got a security plan that can protect not only the NFL zone, can protect all of downtown and maintain full services in the neighborhood on a warm weekend in the city of Detroit.
Good job, Mayor Duggan. Handle your business, and you see the result. The NFL draft may be over, but the impact left on Detroit will never be forgotten. I believe the mayor stated it very well. We had a lot to say this morning at this press conference about the NFL draft weekend.
Yeah, so Detroit breaks the record. Man, you see all those people there. Yeah, it's 775,000 fans. And we're going to hear more from the mayor, Chief White, later in the show. And with that said, good morning, everyone. Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, just afternoon.
Good afternoon. And welcome to the Noon. I'm Brandon Hudson, filling in for Maurielle.
Yeah, one thing that we found out at that press conference, well, there's a lot we found out at that press conference, but one thing has to do with all of the cameras going down right before it started, which is very interesting. So we'll talk about that. And some of the numbers. Some of the numbers
going
they mentioned.
Yeah. It reached capacity in the footprint before the broadcast even started on two nights. Not just one, on two nights. But, you know, it was a special weekend and a special week for Detroit to be in the spotlight.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Well, we got more good news for Detroit as it is being hailed the next Paris or Rome. Now, I will say that people have told me before when I moved here that Detroit was modeled after Paris. So
Detroit.
Yes. So there you go. So according to the travel brand Afar, Detroit now ranks among must-see destinations. The magazine, based out of San Francisco and New York, say that the Motor City has a lot to offer. Everything from music, culture, food, to architecture. Of course, we can't forget about sports. We saw that this weekend. According to Visit Detroit, the city welcomed 17 million visitors last year. That's more than any other year since the pandemic. And the city hopes to set a goal of 25 million visitors in a year by 2030. So they broke, last year, 2023, broke a record for visitors, 17 million. You've got the Final Four that is coming up.
Yeah.
So that's another opportunity. I know it may not be as big as the NFL draft, but again, that is a big opportunity. And we've got 6 more years to reach that goal. So Detroit seems to be on pace. It's just a matter of trying to get a lot of these events in here to help boost those numbers up.
I think what the NFL draft highlighted most about Detroit that others didn't know is how much of an international city we are. Most people don't realize you're standing on the river looking across at another country when you're in Detroit. Also, when I get to travel, I have run into people from Detroit. Like I said, I ran into Kevin Saunderson at a parade in Amsterdam, and they were going crazy for him. So when it comes to techno music, we've always been international. Jazz, always international. Motown, always international. And so now the rest of the world is catching up to this unique position we have, because people were like, we're right down the street from Cleveland or right down the street from Indy. People can drive in, and you saw all those people come to our city. So it's cool to see this travel magazine, this kind of hoity-toity Afar travel magazine going, you know what, Detroit's an international city.
You saw them in town this weekend, visitors from all 32 NFL teams, people from all around the world. They came here to Detroit. I had a buddy of mine who came up from Pittsburgh and had not been to Detroit in a long time. He even told me that he's going to try to bring his wife and his kids up here over the summer when it's nice. Michigan summers are something that are spectacular and special, but you don't need me to tell you that. You already know what it is. But look, I think, you know, the draft proved to a lot of people, especially a lot of visitors that didn't know about Detroit, that the city is special, and we're open for business and open for visitors.
Yeah, round of applause for Detroit. Let's go. Yeah, get some, everybody in the studio. Yeah, get some of that. Pat ourselves on the back too. All right, let's shift gears to a story that was trending over the weekend, and this is about an upstate New York district attorney who refused to stop for the cops when she was stopped speeding. Take a look. Instead, she drove straight to her house, and then she called the police chief to complain about the officer who pursued her. Oh, well, that's the woman right there. I thought we had the video as well, but this is her, Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Dorley. She admitted she was driving 55 in a 35 zone. She said it while she was yelling at the cop. Less than a half mile from her neighborhood. Now, she drove straight to her house, didn't stop. The entire incident was caught on body camera footage. On the footage, you can hear her screaming and cursing at the officer. She later posted an apology and blamed the incident on a frightening medical concern along with work stress. Does that usually get you out of a ticket? Not me.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Now, she pleaded guilty to the speeding ticket and said she will cooperate with an investigation. But I've learned just this morning that the New York governor is now going to open up an investigation, because if you cannot obey the law, how can you enforce the law as a DA? So if you ever get that, TMZ has that footage. If you ever see it, she just does not want to stop. She starts walking in her house. And if that were someone else, it would have been a very different story.
And I know she doesn't have to disclose what kind of medical emergency that was, but for someone to, I mean, look, even in the biggest emergency situations, I'm sure that law enforcement, especially for a woman of her stature, would be willing to say, hey, we get it, we can help you out. Yeah. Because we've seen, you know, officers help out when people are in need like that. And she's a person who police go to for help. Yeah. So she would, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it, because I think the thing is, and we're already seeing this with former President Donald Trump, no one is above the law. Right. And this is another example. We have a prosecutor who is showing that she does not want to stop, or no need to stop. But I think you know, the governor is opening up an investigation to show that, you know, no matter who you are in the state of New York, you are not above the law. You know, and we wouldn't even know it happened because it was police cam footage. The guy's, you know, camera that they have on their chest. That's the footage that was TMZ got a hold of. So very interesting. We'll see what happens with that prosecutor. All right, so a priest in Philly, he may be in big trouble after being charged for stealing, get this, $40,000 from a parish in order to fund his addiction to cell phone games. Officials say that 51-year-old Reverend Lawrence Kozak used parish money to games such as Wizard of Oz slots, Candy Crush Saga, and you know, people were still playing that, Cash Frenzy, Mario Kart Tour, and Pokemon Go. This was back in 2022. At first, the priest denied the allegations, but later said that he may have done it accidentally. Yeah, okay. Since he has since been removed from his position. Now, here's my question. How can you play Candy Crush or any of those games to the tune of 40 grand? I don't play those games. So how do you spend money in the game? So there's certain levels and certain things you can access, and certain, I don't know, I would say maybe cheat codes or whatnot. That you pay for? That you pay for. What about skill? And help us out there. If you know how to, if you know where you can spend money in the Candy, I haven't played Candy Crush in like 10 years. So we're not really experts on the online cell phone gaming. So help us out here with the tag board. Just let us know what you can spend your money on. Hashtag the noon on Facebook and Twitter. But yeah, this is, I mean, it's stealing. It's stealing from your parish. You cannot use church money to play video games. And $40,000 worth. When was he playing? All the time. And here's the thing about churches in Philadelphia is they're cash strapped. Like these churches don't have a lot of money, especially in the city. Tell me about it. So he's stealing from people from a cash strapped parish to begin with. The Lord. Stealing from the Lord. Man. You are. I said it low. I said it low.